Oh, shalom. Welcome to day 29 of Daily Bread. We'll be reading out the scriptures, 2009 version. Will be in Genesis 37:38, Judges 11, Psalms 38, Proverbs 29, Matthew 26. Genesis 37 on page 40 in the scriptures. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father, sojourning in the land of Canaan. And this is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock of his brothers with his brothers. And a young man was with the sons of Bilhah, and the sons of Zephlon, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report to his father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all of his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a long robe. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him, and were not able to speak peacefully to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers. So they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Please listen to this dream, which I have dreamed. See, we are binding sheaves in the midst of the field, and see, my sheaf rose up and also stood up. And see, your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us?" So that they hated him even more for his dream and his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and related it to his brothers, and said, "See, I have dreamed another dream. And see, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me." And he related it to his fathers and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have had dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." And he said to him, "Please go and see if he is well with your brothers, and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hermon and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And man asked him, saying, "What do you seek?" And he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep." And the man said, "They left here, for I found them. I heard them say, 'Let us go towards Doath.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Doath. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said to each other, "See, this master of dreams is coming. Now then, come and let us now kill him and throw him into some pit, and shall say, 'Some wild beast devoured him.' Let us then see what comes of his dreams." But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands, and said, "Let us not strike his beam." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood, throw him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands, and bring him back to the father." And it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his robe, the long robe which was on him. And they took him and threw him into the pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal. And they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Israelites coming from Gilead, and their camels bearing spice and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Mizpah. And Judah said to his brothers, "What would we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Edomites, and let our hand be upon, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother, our flesh. And his brothers listened. And men, Midianite traders, passed by. So they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Mizraimites for 20 pieces of silver. And they took Joseph to Mizraim. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his garments. And he returned to his brothers and said, The boy is gone, and where am I to go? So they took Joseph's robe, slew a male goat, dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe and brought it to their father, and said, We have found this. Please look. Is it the robe of your son or not? And he recognized it, and said, It is my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his garments, and put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all of his sons and his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, and said, Now let me go down into Sheol to my son in mourning. So his father wept for him, and the Midianites sold him in Mizraim to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. Chapter 38. And at that time it came to be that Judah left his brothers, and turned aside to a man in Odulamite, whose name was Haran. And Judah saw their daughter, a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shahwa. And he took her and went into her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Salah. And he was in Kezabin when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for She was firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and took his life. And Yahweh took his life. And Judah said to Onan, Go into your brother's wife, marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did despised Yahweh, so he took his life too. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Salah is grown. For he said, Lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And after a long time, the daughter of Shahwa, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers in Teman, and he and his friend Haran the Adamite. And it was reported to Tamar, saying, See, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she took off her widow's garment, covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat at the entrance of the Enon, which is on the way to Teman. For she saw that Sahal was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. And Judah saw her, and reckoned her for a whore, for she had her face covered. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, Please let me come in to you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What do you give me to come into me? And he said, Let me send you a young goat from the flock. And she said, Do you give me a pledge until you send it? So he said, What pledge should I give you? And she said, Your seal, your cord, and your staff, that is in your hand. And he gave them to her, and he went into her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away and removed her veil and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Edomite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but did not find her. And the Edomite asked the men in the place, saying, "Where is the cult prostitute who was beside the way to Edom?" And they said, "There is no cult prostitute in this place." And we turned to Judah and said, "I have not found her." I have not found her. And the men of the place said, "There is no cult prostitute in this place." And Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we become despised. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to be about 3 new moons after that Judah was informed, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she has conceived by whoring." And Judah said, "Bring her out, and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please examine whose these are, the seal, the cord, and the staff." And Judah examined and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Salah my son." And he never knew her again. And it came to be at that time for giving birth, that twins were in her womb. And it came to be, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand on the midwife, took a scarlet thread, and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." So his name was called Peretz. And afterwards his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was Zeram. The end of Genesis 37 and 38. Moving on to Judges 11 on page 266. And Yiphtah the Gilhite was a mighty brave one, but he was the son of a whore. And Gilead brought forth Yiphtah, and the wife of Gilead bore sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Yiphtah out, and said to him, "You shall not have an inheritance in the house of our father, for you are the son of another woman." And Yiphtah fled from his brothers, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And worthless men banded together with Yiphtah, and went out with him. And it came to be some time later that the children of Ammon fought against Israel. And it came to be, when the children of Ammon fought against Israel, that the elders of Gilead went to bring Yiphtah out of the land of Tob. And they said to Yiphtah, "Come, and you shall be our commander, and let us fight against the children of Ammon." But Yiphtah said to the elders of Gilead, "Did you not hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in trouble?" And the elders of Gilead said of Yiphtah, "This is the reason we have turned to you, that you shall go with us and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead." And Yiphtah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you take me back to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahweh gives them to me, am I to be your head?" And the elders of Gilead said to Yiphtah, "Yahweh is witness between us, if we do not do according to your words." And Yiphtah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people sent him over them as as head and commander. And Yiphtah spoke all his words before Yahweh in Mizpah. And Yiphtah sent messengers to the sovereign of the children of Ammon, saying, "Please, what is between you and me, that you have come to fight against me in my land?" And the sovereign of the children of Ammon said to the messengers of Yiphtah, "Because Israel took my land when they came up out of Misraim, Egypt, from the Aron as far as Yabob, and as to the Jordan. Now, give back those lands in peace." But Yiphtah again sent messengers to sovereign the children of Ammon, and said to him, "This is what Yiphtah said: Israel did not take the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. For when we came out from Misraim, and Israel walked through the wilderness as far as the sea of reeds, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers to the sovereign of Edom, saying, "Please let me pass over through your land." But the sovereign of Edom would not listen. And they also sent to the sovereign of Moab, but he refused. So Israel stayed in Kadesh. Then they went through the wilderness and around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came to the east side of the land of Moab, and encamped beyond Ammon. But they did not enter the border of Moab, for Aron was the border of Moab. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, sovereign of Heshbon, and Israel sent to him, "Please let us pass over through your land into our place." But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass over through his border. And Sihon gathered all his people together, and they encamped in Yahatz, and fought against Israel. And Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, gave Sihon and all of his people into the hand of Israel, and they struck them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that land. Thus they took possession of all the borders of the Amorites, from Aron to the Jacob, and to the wilderness of the Jordan. And now Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, has driven out the Amorites from before his people Israel. Should you then possess it? Whatever Chemosh, your mighty one, gives you, you possess. Do you not possess it? And all that which Yahweh, our Elohim, takes possession of before us, we possess. And now, are you any better than Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel? Did he ever fight against them? While Israel dwelt in Heshbon and its villages, and Haran and its villages, and all the cities along the banks of Ammon. For 300 years, why did you not recover them within that time? So I have not sinned against you, but you are doing evil by fighting against me. Let Yahweh the judge judge today between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. But the sovereign of the children of Ammon did not listen to the words which Yiphtah said to him. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Yiphtah, and he passed through Gilead and Minesh, and passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and went from Mizpah of Gilead, he passed on toward the children of Ammon. And Yiphtah made a vow to Yahweh, and said, "If you give the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall belong to Yahweh, and I shall offer it up as an extending offering." Yiphtah then passed on toward the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh gave them into his hands. And he struck them from Arua as far as Maneth, 20 cities. And to Abel Karan was with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were humbled before the children of Israel. And Yiphtah came to his house at Mizpah, and saw his daughter coming out to meet him, with timbrels and dancing. Now except for her he had neither son nor daughter. And when it came to be, when he saw her, that he tore his garments, and said, O my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are among those who trouble me. And I have given my word to Yahweh, and I am unable to turn back. And she said to him, My father, if you have given your word to Yahweh, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, because Yahweh has taken vengeance for you upon your enemies, the children of Ammon. And she said to her father, Let this be done for me. Let me alone for 2 new moons, and let me go and wander on the mountain, and bewail my maidenhood, my friends and I. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 new moons. And she went with her friends, and bewailed her maidenhood on the mountains. And it came to be at the end of the 2 new moons, she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed. And she knew no man. And it became a statute in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went every year for 4 days to lament the daughter of Yiphtah the Gileadite. Psalms 38 on page 667. And Yahweh, O Yahweh, do not rebuke me in your wrath, nor chastise me in your hot displeasure. For your arrows have pierced me, and your hand comes down on me. There is no soundness in my flesh because of your rage, nor peace of my bones because of my sin. For my crookedness hath passed over my head, like a heavy burden too heavy for me. My wounds have become stinky, festering, because of my folly. I have been bent down. I have been bowed down very much. All day long I have gone mourning, for my loins have come filled with burning, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I have become weak and greatly crushed. I howled from the groaning of my heart. Yahweh, all of my desire is before you, and my sign has not been hid from you. My heart is throbbing, my strength has forsaken me, and the light of my eyes also is not with me. My loved ones and my friends stand back from me, from my plague, and my neighbors stand far away. And those seeking my life lay a snare, and those seeking my evil have spoken of destruction, and utter deceit all day long. But I, as one deaf, do not hear, and as a dumb one who does not open his mouth. I am like a man who does not hear, and who has no rebukes in his own mouth. For you, Yahweh, O Yahweh, I have waited. You do answer, O Yahweh, my Elohim. For I said, otherwise they would rejoice over me. When my foot slips, they would exalt themselves over me. For I am ready to fall, and my pain is always with me. For I confess my crookedness. I am sorry over my sin. But my enemies are alive. They have become strong. And those hating me falsely are many. And those who repay evil for good, they oppose me, because I follow what is good. Do not forsake me, O Yahweh, O my Elohim. Be far from me. Hasten to help me, O Yahweh, my deliverance. Proverbs 29 on page 755. One often reproved, hardening his neck, is suddenly broken, and there is no healing. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wrong one rules, the people sigh. He who loves wisdom gladdens his father, but a companion of whores destroys wealth. A sovereign establishes a land by right ruling, but one who receives bribes throws it down. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his own feet. An evil man is ensnared by transgression, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous knows the plea of the poor, and the wrong does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers ensnare a city, but the wise turn away wrath. When a wise man disputes with a foolish man, whether he rages or laughs, there is no peace. Bloodthirsty men hate the perfect and seek the life of the straight. A fool lets out all his breath, but the wise keeping it back calms it down. If a ruler listens to lying words, all his servants become wrong. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common: Yahweh gives light to the eyes of the both. The sovereign who rightly rules the poor with truth, his throne is established forever. A rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child unrestrained brings shame to his mother. When the wrong become many, transgression increases, but the righteous look on their fall. Discipline your son, and he brings you rest and delight to your life. Where there is no vision, the people are let loose. But blessed is he who guards the Torah. A servant is not disciplined by words. Though he understands, he does not respond. Have you seen a man hasty in his words? There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. He who deals tenderly with his servant from youth has him as a son in the end. A man of displeasure stirs up strife, and a master of rage has many a transgression. The pride of a man brings him low, but the humble in spirit obtains esteem. He who shares with a thief hates his own life. He hears an oath, but does not report. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in Yahweh is set on high. Many seek the face of a ruler, but right ruling for men comes from Yahweh. An unrighteous man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is straight in the way is an abomination to the wrong. Be on Matthew 26. It's page 951. And it came to be when Yeshua ended all these words, he said to the taught ones. This is after the story of the 10 maidens and the talents, the parables. And it came to be when Yeshua ended all these words, he said to the taught ones, you know that after 2 days the Pesach takes place, Passover, and the son of Adam is to be delivered up to be impaled. Then the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people came together at the court of the high priest, who was called Yiphtah, and plotted to seize Yeshua by trickery and kill him. But they said, not at the festival, lest there be an uproar among the people. And when Yeshua was in Bethlehem at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him, having alabaster flask of costly perfume, and she poured it on his head, and he sat on the table. And his taught ones saw it. They were much displeased, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this perfume could have been sold, and much of it given to the poor. However, when Yahweh noticed it, he said to them, why do you trouble the woman? For she has done good work toward me. For you always have the poor with you, but me you do not have always. For in pouring this perfume on my body, she did it for my burial. Truly I say to you, whatever this good news is proclaimed in all the world, that this woman has done, what this woman has done, shall be spoken also to her remembrance. And one of the 12, called Judah of Sichera, went to the chief priests and said to him, what would you give me to deliver him to you? And they counted out 30 pieces of silver. Ezekiel 11:12. And from them on, he was seeking an occasion to deliver him up. And on the first day of unleavened bread, the taught ones came to Yeshua, and saying to him, where do you wish us to prepare for you to eat the Pesach? And he said, go into the city to a certain man, and say to him, the teacher says, my time is near, I am to perform the Pesach at your house with my taught ones. And the taught ones did as Yeshua had ordered them, and prepared the Pesach. And when evening came, he sat down with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, truly I say to you, one of you shall deliver me up. And they were deeply grieved, and began to say to him, each of them, Master, is it I? And he answered and said, he who has dipped his hand with me in the dish, he shall deliver me up. Indeed, the son of Adam goes as it has been written concerning him. But woe to the man by whom the son of Adam is delivered up. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born. And Judah, who had delivered him up, answering, said, Rabbi, is it I? He said to him, you have said it. And as they were eating, Yeshua took bread, and having blessed, broke and gave it to the taught ones, and said, take, eat, this is my body. And taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I shall certainly not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on till this day, till that day when I drink it anew with you in the reign of my Father. And having sung a song, they went out to the Mount of Olives. When Yeshua said to them, all of you shall stumble in me this night, for it has been written, I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered. Ezekiel 13:7. But after I have been raised, I shall go before you into Galilee. And Peter Simon answering said to him, even if all stumble in you, I shall never stumble. Yeshua said to him, I say to you, that this night before the cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times. Simon Peter said to him, even if I have to die with you, I shall not deny you. All the taught ones said the same too. Then Yeshua came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to the taught ones, sit here while I go over there and pray. And he took with him Simon Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and he began to be grieved and deeply distressed. Then he said to him, my being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Let not I desire, yet not I desire, but as you desire. And as he came to the taught ones and found them asleep, and said to Peter, So, were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into trial. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. Again he went away a second time and prayed, saying, O Father, if it is impossible for this to pass until I drink it, let your desire be done. And he came and found them asleep again, and their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to his taught ones and said to them, Still sleeping and taking rest, see, the hour has come near, and the Son of Adam is delivered up from the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. See, he who delivers me up has come near. And while he was still speaking, see, Judah, one of the 12, with a large crowd with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and elders of the people. And he who was delivering him up gave them a sign, saying, Whoever I kiss, it is he, seize him. And going straight up to Yeshua, he said, Greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. And Yahweh said to him, Friend, why have you come? Then they came and laid hands on Yeshua and seized him. And look, one of those with Yeshua put out his hand and drew his sword, and striking the servant of the high priest, he cut his ear off. And Yeshua said to him, Return your sword to its place, for all who take the sword shall die by the sword. Or do you think that I am not able to pray to my Father now, and he shall provide me with more than 12 legions of messengers? How then should the scriptures be filled if it has not been this way? In that hour Yeshua said to the crowds, Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to arrest me? Daily I sat with you, teaching in the set-apart place, and you did not seize me. But all this came to be so that the scriptures of the prophets might be filled. Then all the taught ones left him and fled. Verse 31 there. I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep shall flock. The sheep of the flock shall scattered. And those who had seized Yeshua led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were gathered together. And Peter followed them at a distance at the courtyard of the high priest. And he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Then the chief priests and the elders and all the council were seeking false witnesses against Yeshua to put him to death, but found none. Although many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at least 2 false witnesses came forward and said, This one said, I am to be destroyed in a dwelling. I am able to destroy the dwelling place of Elohim and build it in 3 days. And the high priest stood up and said to him, Have you no answer to make? What do these witness against you? But Yeshua remained silent. So the high priest said to him, I put you to oath by the living Elohim that you say to us, You are the Messiah, the Son of Elohim. And Yeshua said to him, You have said it. Besides, I say to you, from now on, you shall see the Son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the power, Psalms 110:1, and coming on the clouds of the heaven, Dan 7:13. References. When the high priest then the high priest tore his garments, saying, "He has blasphemed. Why do we need any more witnesses? See, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think?" And they answering said, "He is liable to death." Then they spat on his face and beat him, and others slapped him, saying, "Prophesy to us, Messiah. Who was the one who struck you?" And Peter sat outside in the courtyard of the servant, came to him, saying, "Are you with Yeshua of Galilee?" But he denied it before them all, saying, "I do not know what you say." And he was going out onto the porch. Another girl saw him and said to those there, "And this one was with Yeshua of Nazareth." But again he denied with an oath, "I do not know that man." And after a while, those who stood by him came to him and said to Peter, "Truly you are one of them too, for even your speech gives you away." Then he began to curse and swear and say, "I do not know the man." And immediately a cock crowed. And Peter remembered the words of Yeshua, who had said to him, "Before a cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times." And going out, he wept bitterly. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.